I'm Amber from Love Fit, and I'm going to do a quick talk about sugar cravings, particularly in relation to your cycle. Okay, I'll try and keep this fairly short, but I thought that, especially as I know this is really common for a lot of people, that it would be good to have for you an explanation as to maybe why you're experiencing these cravings, and also a few tools to help you manage those symptoms. So I'm guessing most people watching this will be familiar with what I'm talking about. It's really pretty common that just before your period's due, so towards the end of your cycle and maybe into the beginning of that cycle starting, that you will experience sometimes pretty overwhelming cravings for sugar. You just want to raid the sweet tin, the biscuit jar. You just want to eat all the sweet things. And yeah, if that's you, the first thing to know is that you're not alone. The second thing to know is that it is to do with your hormones. Isn't it always to do with your hormones? And the third thing is that there is help, that there are ways around this. I would like to add as a caveat, obviously everybody is completely unique. So whether or not you experience these symptoms, it depends on you, the individual. And if you do experience these symptoms, exactly when you find those strongest cravings is going to be unique to you. For most women, it's going to be just in the run up to your period starting. And then usually the cravings will disappear in the first few days of your period starting. So in the early part of your cycle. But if you have very severe symptoms, if it's almost debilitating, it is always worth talking to your GP and asking for a referral on to somebody who can look more specifically into your hormones. Get blood tests, get hormone profile done, so that they can see if you might need a little bit of help. But this video is aimed at those of us who have mild to moderate symptoms that we totally are nodding our heads going, yep, I know about those cravings. So let me talk to you first about why does that happen? Why do we get these cravings? We all kind of know that we blame it on our hormones, but exactly what's going on? So in the run up to your period, just at the very end of your cycle, so if you have a sort of fairly regular 28-day cycle, somewhere from around days 21 to 25, you might start to notice these cravings. And what's happening at that point in your cycle is your hormone called progesterone is dropping and your estrogen is rising. And with those hormones in flux, what often happens is that your blood sugar will also drop. And of course, if your blood sugar levels are dropping, your body is then crying out for that to be replenished. Okay, so we want carbohydrate, we want sugar. Now, fairly obviously, I hope, it is better for us. It's a better choice if we are not just eating all the cookies and we're instead eating those more starchy, filling carbs, not the more refined, sugary carbs. So it is really worthwhile towards the end of your cycle making sure you are eating plenty of carbohydrate. I think a lot of us, particularly women, have been taught to fear carbohydrate, and actually for most people we do pretty well on it. Again, unique to your body type, but most of us need it. We do all need it to some extent, of course, but most of us do not have a problem with carbs. Most of us will tolerate carbs pretty well. So in that final week before your period is due, eat plenty of carbohydrates with your meals. Get those potatoes in, rice, pasta, whatever it is, again, depending on your preferences and dietary requirements, but do fuel up on carbohydrates so your body has got enough insulin and is ready to do what it needs to do. Now, another thing that often is linked, these sugar cravings are also more common in people who suffer from more severe PMS, premenstrual syndrome. So if you do suffer from irritability, low mood, sadness, feeling pretty blue just before your period, this is because, again, at that point in your cycle, your serotonin levels are dropping. Now, why does that cause sugar craving? Well, to try and just explain it fairly succinctly, serotonin is pretty much mostly made in the gut, okay? And insulin is needed to move that serotonin from the gut, where it's made, to your brain. So if you are low in sugar, then you don't have enough insulin to help move that serotonin along and up to the brain. And therefore, if we're low on sugar, we obviously get the cravings, but also our mood is affected by it. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So that's just a kind of a very quick whistle-stop tour of actually what's going on in your body and why you experience those symptoms and those cravings. So how can we help? I say, if you've got very severe symptoms, obviously anything's worth a try, but I do suggest you go and speak to somebody with medical expertise around this. But for most people, a good starting place is to look at your diet. You know, it's always a bit boring, isn't it? We want to reach for the chocolates, whatever. Of course, you know, eat some chocolate, that's fine. But if you're really struggling and you're trying to eat well and you don't want to have these points in your cycle where you just have to sort of throw the towel in and go mad binging on chocolate, in order to keep a little bit more stability, there's two things, and I'm sure you're all familiar with this. It's kind of the answer to everything, but we need to make sure we've got good quality protein at every meal. This does not have to be animal protein, so if you don't eat meat, fish, any kind of dairy, eggs, whatever, that's completely fine. You can get that protein from nuts, you can get it from seeds, you can get the protein from legumes, pulses. There's absolutely loads of other sources. Flaxseed, chia seeds, all of that stuff, okay? But you need protein. That's going to help you feel full, as are fats, good quality fats. You need fat in your diet for helping produce hormones, for your cell development. You know, I could go on, but you need fat as well. So your fat, again, nuts and seeds are brilliant for fats. Avocados, coconuts, any form of coconut oil, olive oil, all of these things. You are going to want to get them in your diet because they will help you to feel full, okay? If you do just kind of go down the route of yielding, giving in, don't like using the term giving in, but yeah, giving in to those cravings and you're just picking at sweet things, they are not going to fill you up. If you eat really good quality protein and fat, you will feel fuller. Those sugar cravings will quieten down, okay? Now, also, sometimes specific minerals can be deficient in your body, and a common one for if you get sugar cravings, maybe not just in the run-up to your cycle starting, but just generally, if you do find that you're somebody who craves sugar quite a lot, you might well be deficient in magnesium. It's really common for people to be deficient in magnesium. So, obviously, again, good balanced diet is going to help with that. Dark leafy greens are always cited as a great source of magnesium, so start there. Your kale or your cruciferous leafy green veg, go there first. A supplement of magnesium, it's absolutely fine, so just taking a tablet form or a multivitamin that's got plenty of magnesium in it. But also, two other good ways you can do this. Epsom salts baths are great. Epsom salts is just magnesium, dissolves into the water, goes straight into your skin. And if you're not one for baths, because I know not everybody likes a bath, then you could use a spray, magnesium spray. So you just spray it on transdermally. And actually that's particularly good, slightly going off on a tangent, but if you get like crampy muscles and muscle soreness, spraying magnesium directly onto the sore muscles, it might feel a bit tingly, but it gets it straight there via the skin and will obviously, help you replenish your deficiency in that particular mineral. And that in turn, magnesium deficiency can be causing your sugar cravings. Okay, so if you suffer from delightful cravings just before your period is due, lots of carbohydrate first, lots of carbohydrate in the run up. So at the end of your cycle, the week before your period is due, get the carbs in. Think of it as training for an event, carb loading before your period. Protein and fat when you're experiencing those cravings. You know, we should be eating this all the time, but making sure you're really paying attention to that. And also understanding why this is happening in your body, knowing that it's not you're not weak of mind, you're not lacking willpower, it is literally your hormones doing this. And because of what's happening to your hormones, your cravings for sugar will go up. Your body is literally asking you for more sugar. And we can make that choice as to which type of sugar we refuel with. Okay, so I'm not saying don't ever eat chocolate. You know, who doesn't love a bit of chocolate, cake, whatever. But look at what I've just said, and hopefully that will give you a little bit of a helping hand. And please don't be afraid to go and talk to your GP if your symptoms are unmanageable. Okay, hopefully that helps. Give me a shout if you have any further questions. Bye.